So, the four emotions that you want to evoke in any single first interaction that you ever have for the rest of your life, you can write this down, get it tattooed on your body. It is not changing anytime soon. This is wired into human beings, are these, right? And the sequencing is important here. I'm going to touch on why. But first, you want them to feel a feeling of positivity, lightheartedness, fun. You want them to smile, laugh, chuckle, or just be uplifted by your presence. This part is really important. Because if you think about it, you've probably never had a positive impression of someone and then walked away feeling glum, right? You've got to be somehow uplifted, and that's what you're aiming for with them. So that's the first thing. The second part that you're aiming for is a feeling of trust. This person needs to trust your motives. They need to know that you're not deceiving them. They need to feel like, at the very least, that even based on a short amount of time, that you're not lying to them. And this is one that is going to come through in body language more than anything. The third one, respect. This is where a lot of people try to start and they overdo it, right? When they drop their resume and who they know and all these sorts of things. But it comes third for a reason, because if it comes before trust in particular, you're going to go, okay, this person is trying to manipulate me, right? They're trying to show me all that they know, what's really cool about them, blah, blah, blah. This is why respect tends to need to come after trust. And I can say respect doesn't need to be with respect to anything in particular. Respect doesn't need to be with respect. Really, what it needs to do is it can be domain specific, as in an interview, so you garner respect from showing that you know a lot about Excel or the industry or whatever it is that you're interviewing for. But in the same interview, you can garner respect by leading the conversation. It really can be with regards to a specific topic or just you as an individual. And we're going to focus more on you as an individual because you can take that anywhere. And then the fourth piece, this is one that I see the most backwards. This is the most common one that people put first when they should put it fourth, is showing interest, like serious, genuine interest in the other person. And one of the most common cliched pieces of advice is that if you want to be interesting, be interested in other people, right? This comes from Dale Carnegie. It's in How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is a great book, notwithstanding this piece of advice. But the truth is, it's half complete at best. And you know this intuitively. I mean, I'm sure you've gone out to a bar or you've interacted with somebody who was high up in your company, or maybe you went to a networking event and you tried to interact with the speaker and you were genuinely interested, right? You had good questions, you'd been active listening, you were like really focused on them with eye contact. You conveyed to them that you were interested in them, but they didn't seem to care, right? You didn't make a fantastic impression. And the truth is, this is very, very common. The reason is because you don't distinguish yourself at all when you're interested in a VIP. Because guess what? So is every other person that they encounter in that context. And this goes for the CEO at your company. That's a VIP. Goes for the beautiful woman in a bar. There's a lot of guys coming up to her asking questions, genuinely interested in what she does, but she doesn't want to answer it for the millionth time. Same thing with the speaker at the networking event. You can and you should, in fact, show interest in the other person, but you need to distinguish yourself as someone that they should care about by first lifting their mood with some fun, garnering trust, and respect. That's why it comes forth. And if you get this order whacked, you're in trouble. Now, conversely, if you leave this part out, you're missing a big part of it, because this is what really puts it on steroids. And if you think back, or I guess maybe you don't know this, but Bill Clinton is a famous example of someone who really made everyone that he interacted with feel special. Why was he able to do that? Can you just mimic Bill Clinton's eye contact? Well, not exactly. Bill Clinton was the president of the United States, right? If he was interested in you when you walked into his car salesman lot and seemed really interested and had a genuine respect, you wouldn't trust his motives as much. You might not respect him, and maybe it wasn't any fun. But when he's the president, holy cow, does he have trust, respect? He cracks half a joke or smiles at you. You think he's the most fun person in the world. So it works for him to be genuinely interested and make fantastic eye contact, ask questions, remember names of the people that he interacts with. But that's because by default, he already has the first three. So you got to ask yourself in any context, which ones are going to be taken of for you and taken care of for you? Which ones will you have to go out of your way to do? So if you are the boss of your company or something, you might already have a certain degree of respect. And if it's with someone that is in your friend group, they might trust you implicitly. So you can hit on these less and less and can jump straight to making them feel good. But do not, you can't just leave these out of a cold first impression, because it will never go your way.